If you're looking to try something brand new or want to catch your opponents off guard, then give this deck a try. You're gonna have a blast, because these new cards are gonna make it ridiculously good. What's going on, my friend? This is SynchroGuy, and today I'm here to go over the brand new Crystron Cluster set to come out in the Supreme Darkness set. I know these cards got revealed to us a month ago, so I'm a little late to the party, but I still wanted to go over these new cards because, well, one, it's a Synchro deck. I love Synchro decks, hence my name. And secondly, I actually played Crystron's back when they were first released, like all the way in the past. And it was pretty fun. I remember one time I banished all the cards in my opponent's graveyard with the deck. So anyway, I have a lot of reasons why I wanted to go over this archetype and share my thoughts on these brand new cards. These new cards are going to be really good for the deck, and they're going to really help bring this deck to modern times. So you really should not neglect this deck if you see them. And I hope this video will help encourage you to give this deck a try, because again, they could do some pretty fun stuff in their own gimmick. It is so cool. Now real quick, if you don't know anything about the Crystron archetype, I don't blame you. It's best way I can describe the Crystron archetype, this is this archetype that gave us Halka Firebrax. Yeah, this is his deck. Now real quick, don't forget to hit that like button, click subscribe, and ring the notification bell so you can get more awesome Yu-Gi-Oh related content. Alright, now before we go over the new cards, let me quickly go over what the Crystron archetype is all about. The Crystron archetype is a machine synchro based archetype, and their gimmick is to synchro summon during the opponent's turn. And this gives them access to some very good synchro monsters that have some powerful on-summon trigger effects that they can use on their opponent's turn. So they can use stuff like Satellite Warrior, Navy Dragonback, or Power Zektron, you know, in case of Tenpai matchup. But one cool thing to know about this archetype is that they're only machine restricted. That means they're not restricted to just machine synchro monsters. So that means you can use some machine monsters that are not synchro monsters in your action deck, which makes sense since one of their monsters is a link monster. I guess Konami is just preparing for when Hulk can come off the list at some point. Anyway, let's go over the new cards. First up, we have Crystron Tristalos, and this card's effect reads, when your opponent activates a card or effect, quick effect, you can special summon one Crystron monster from your deck except Crystron Tristalos. Then, immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon one machine monster using that monster you control. You can banish this card from your graveyard, destroy one synchro monster you control, and if you do, special summon two Crystron monsters from your deck. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of the turn except machine monsters. You can only use each effect of Crystron Tristalos once per turn. Amazing! This card is amazing! And for a good number of reasons. The first major reason is, well, you could use this effect to synchro summon during your turn. Alright, and that's really big because, well, again, while the Crystron gimmick is to synchro summon during the opponent's turn, that's kind of one of the things. Like, the other 200 monsters in the Crystron archetype, their quick synchro effects only work during the opponent's main phase or battle phase. They don't work during your turn, which this card does, and that is amazing. And the other cool thing is the monster you summon for this comes from your deck. Again, unlike the other tuners we have, one summons from the hand, one summons from the graveyard, and the other one from banishment. So the hand one, kind of iffy. Graveyard, good, and banishment can also be good, but sometimes those things, you know, have a chance to possibly get disrupted. But this new guy, though, no, not a chance. Like, there's hardly... the only way you're not going to resolve that effect is if you don't have anything in your deck to summon on. And the other cool thing about being able to use this effect during your turn is that, well, you can potentially dodge any target effects. So if your opponent tries to use something like Effect Veil or Imperm on your turn, you can use his Tristalos to basically dodge that. That is so cool. And of course, this great effect is amazing. Being able to special summon two Crystron monsters from your deck, like, amazing. You can really swarm the field with Crystron monsters. Now, of course, you do have to pop a Crystron Synchro monster, but that's okay because a good majority of them have effects when they get destroyed by card effects, so you're not losing any values. So for a Crystron deck, you will want to play about, say, like 2 to 3 copies. It's kind of like pick and choose. Like, you could get away with 2, but, you know, 3 maybe that might be better. But either one of the 2, just like just play more than 1 at the very least. Like, to not play this card in a Crystron deck, that's a crime against Crystrons. Next up, we have Crystron Sulfudhole, and his effect reads, if this card is in your hand or graveyard, you can target one Crystron card you control, destroy it, and if you do, special summon this card. Also, you cannot special summon from the extra deck for the rest of this turn except machine monsters. If this card is normal or special summon, you can send up to 2 Crystron cards with different names from your deck to the graveyard except Crystron Sulfudhole. You can only use each effect of Crystron Sulfudhole once per turn. That is good. So being able to special summon itself from either your hand or graveyard, amazing. So that means if you don't see him in your open hand, if you could like send him to the graveyard, you could still special summon him and get those mill effect. Heck, and you trust me, you want to have a mill effect in Crystron deck because most of the non-tuner monsters in the deck have effects that can trigger while they're in the graveyard. Like there's one can search out a Crystron monster, another one can search out a spell of traps. You got plenty of things to do with them. So trust me, you want to try getting your Crystron monsters into the graveyard. But the other cool thing about this is that he's a level 5 machine monster, and that's good because we actually have another Crystron monster that's also level 5. That means we can then go into Cyber Dragon Infinity. Yes, because again, this archetype doesn't restrict you to synchro monsters. You can use any machine extra deck monster. So with Crystron Sulfudhole and Crystron Sulfudhole, you can Z summon into Cyber Dragon Nova and then go to Cyber Dragon Infinity. So that is amazing. So for this guy, this is a definitely 3-up because he's gonna be alive no matter what. So you want to see him as best as you can. And now let's take a look at the brand new synchro monster, Crystron Eleskeletas. Crystron Eleskeletas. I practiced this earlier, I swear. Crystron Eleskeletas. And his card text reads, 1 tuner plus 1+ non-tuner monsters. Monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack and defense. You can only use each of the following effects of Crystron Eleskeletas once per turn. If this card is synchro summon, you can add 1 Crystron card from your graveyard or banishment to your hand. If this synchro summon card is destroyed by battle card effect, you can set yourself 1 Crystron monster from your graveyard or banishment. Oh, this is... So yeah, this card is good. Being able to on summon grab back any Crystron card from your graveyard or banishment, that is cool. And that is cool, but really cool because some decks sure can get back stuff in the graveyard, but banishment, not all of them can do that, and being able to do that, that is amazing. And again, we banished quite a good number of our Crystron cards, so being able to get those back would be very helpful, especially if they get banished by our opponent for some reason. But he also pairs well with your Crystron Tristalos because, as mentioned, like if you have the synchro monster field and you use Tristalos as a graveyard effect to pop it, you would special summon 2 Crystron monsters from your deck, and then your synchro monster will trigger it and special summon a Crystron monster from the graveyard. So you're getting a lot of resources available to you, so that is amazing. And of course, being able to reduce your opponent's monster's attack and defense by 500, it could come up. It's like not a whole lot, but still 500, nothing to scoff at. So for Crystron deck, you definitely want to play 2 copies of this at the very least. I mean, you could try to play only 1, but I think you maybe want to play 2 because again, getting back resources is very beneficial, especially when you're trying to play the long game. Next, we have the brand new continuous spell, Crystron Inclusion. And this card's text reads, when this card is activated, you can add 1 Crystron card from your deck to your hand, except Crystron Inclusion. The first time each of your Crystron monsters will be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 Crystron monster in your graveyard. Special summon it. You can only use this effect of Crystron Inclusion once per turn. You can only activate 1 Crystron Inclusion per turn. Oh yeah, this is a good searcher. So, as the card text reads, when you activate it, it doesn't just search you a Crystron monster, it searches you any Crystron card. So, whatever piece you're probably missing, you can get it with this spell, and that is so cool. And this card can actually pair well with the brand new Crystron Sulfudhole, because it's like if you activate the Crystron Inclusion, you search out Sulfudhole, and then you can use Sulfudhole's effect to destroy it and special summon the Sulfudhole. And that's okay because Inclusion has a graveyard effect where you can banish it and special summon a Crystron monster back in your graveyard. Like, you can have a lot of chances to just recurring resources with these new cards. It's amazing. And just make sure we're clear, you can use both effects in the same turn. It's just saying that you can only activate 1 Crystron Inclusion from your hand onto the field per turn. So that just means you can't activate more than 1 from your hand, but you can still use both its on-field effect and its graveyard effect in the same turn. And of course, Crystron Inclusion is the effect to protect our monsters from being destroyed by battle. It can also be really good, but it doesn't say just protection for card effects because we enjoy popping our own stuff. Oftentimes, we don't need protection from that. For Crystron deck, 3 copies is a must. Must. I cannot emphasize that enough. And finally, we have the brand new continuous track, Crystron Cluster, and this card's text reads, Crystron cards you control cannot be banished by your opponent's card effects. You can target 1 face-up card on the field or up to 2 cards if you control a Crystron synchro monster. Shuffle one Crystron card from your graveyard banishment into the deck, except Crystron Cluster, and if you do, destroy the target cards. You can only use this effect of Crystron Cluster once per turn. Oh, baby! In archetype in Icarus tech, that's like 1,000 times better than Icarus tech. Hell yeah! So being able to not just disrupt your opponent, but be able to shuffle back any one of your Crystron cards from graveyard banishment, again, amazing. Simply amazing. But the other cool thing is that it gives you banishing protection. Well, specifically for the opponent's card. Because again, we don't mind banishing, but we only care if our stuff gets banished if it's not us that's doing the banishing. If it's our opponent, then that becomes a problem. But that's why this new track card comes in, and being able to protect ourselves from our opponent's banishing effects can be really, really good. Especially if we're playing against like freaking anti-mana decks. So for a Crystron deck, you will want to play at least one copy of this card. You really don't need to play one-on-one because you can easily search this card out. So there's really no reason to play more than one. I mean, and not to mention we have ways to get this card back if we lose it. So yeah, this card just being out of our grasp is nearly impossible. So with all these cool brand new cards with the Crystron archetype, does this mean this deck is gonna be meta? No. Sadly no. Like, again, these new cards are cool, but I don't think this deck is gonna be surprisingly all that, like, big meta. I mean, but if someone could prove me wrong, I would greatly appreciate it, and I would gladly eat my own words if that would happen. So with these brand new cards do make the deck really good, and you can definitely see, hey, this deck with these brand new cards being played at your locals when they get released. Some people may even try to sink it into a regional too, perhaps, but that all depends what the meta is going to look like when Supreme Darkness gets released into the TCG. But again, this deck is really cool, and these brand new cards really help the deck out. So I highly recommend you give this deck a try, because I believe you will have a lot of fun. I mean, being able to synchro summon during the opponent's turn a bunch of times, you could do some really cheesy stuff. Anyway, my friend, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have / had an awesome day today.